This might be shocking to some of you guys, but I was watching the NCAA basketball finals. Yes, I don't just watch ice skating. So I was watching that game. Go Badgers, but they lost, sadly. But one of the things that I found really inspiring about it, did anybody watch the game?
Yeah.
Sad, not a lot of actors, I guess, are into basketball. I'm from Indiana, so you know, basketball's in our blood, although, like I said, I ice skated instead of playing basketball. Anyway, where was I? Going down memory lane. Okay, one of the things that I did find really inspiring, Vanessa, around the door, that's fine, come on in. So, one of the things that I found really inspiring about it is that Duke's players, the sportscasters kept saying, especially they were describing the freshmen. So it was Taylor Grayson and yes, that kid. What's the other kid's name? Tyus Jones and Justice Winslow, right? And they kept talking about how they're freshmen, so they're very young, and they would just do crazy aggressive things to score a basket. And the sportscasters kept describing them as fearless. Over and over again. They're like, look at that fearless move! It's fearless! They're so fearless! And what I found so inspiring about that, after the game was over, I started thinking about, well, why are they fearless? And I think the interesting thing about fearlessness is that doesn't mean that they actually scored all the time. A lot of times it turned into a big fat disaster. But the effort to be fearless and to commit towards something, what did it end up doing? It ended up winning them the national championship. So in the short term, there were failures, but in the long term, it converted into victory. And so I started thinking about, well, what is this thing about fearlessness that we have when we're young? Because that's the thing. They're 18 years old. Those kids were 18 or 19 years old. So they have not yet had, their memory bank has not yet been full of rejections, disappointments, setbacks, challenges, obstacles, people telling you you can't do it, and all the reasons why it won't work. Now, that's not to say that young adults are not faced with challenges. I'm not saying that. But what's interesting is because they haven't been sort of, the sheer number of rejections hasn't been hoisted upon them yet, they're able to bounce back quicker. They're more resilient. They're more malleable to not know what the end result of trying something and it not working out, what it ends up doing to us. And so I thought, well, that's what's exciting about being fearless, is because you just are sort of ignorant about the end results, and it doesn't get in the way of you trying. You're not, listen, this is the other thing that's coming to me right now. You don't attach meaning to it. You don't describe yourself as a loser, a failure, a dumbass, it's never going to happen, all these things that we're always talking about, because that stuff hasn't really been hardwired into your brain yet. So there's something raw and uninhibited and wild about being young, fearless, and that's great. And then there's also something that's a little scary about being raw and wild and uninhibited. This is why you're not allowed to rent a car until you're 25 years old. Well, why is that? Listen, they're smart because there's science. There's the reptilian brain that's still developing until we're 25 years old. So at one level, it's what we want in our life. We want to be more fearless. And as we move out into the world and we start to face these things coming at us, we're less willing to take the risk. You guys, we've got to get back to that aspect of fearlessness. Now, obviously, all the work is about that. But I'm talking about in your life as well. You cannot, you heard me say it over and over again, successes are born out of innumerable failures. And you just can't hatch so much meaning around it. There is no meaning around failures. It's just a part of the process. I always like to say, James Cameron, before he was known for doing Avatar and Titanic, what did he do? Piranha 2! In fact, I think he took his name off it. So, as adults, we've got to get back to that fearless way of creating. I just want to end with this. You guys, if you strive for security, what's going to happen? You're going to get secure, and this being secure is going to keep you from taking the risk. If you strive for perfection, we know that perfection is a thought disease. It doesn't exist. But if you, listen, we're bombarded with the ideas of what we think success and perfection looks like. It's an illusion, but if you keep waiting for yourself to fulfill that illusion, you ain't ever going to do anything. If you wait until all of your ducks are in a row, I'm sorry, ducks are very migratory. We're in a drought in California. If I were a duck, I would have been up and out somewhere else. I would be living somewhere else. So if you're waiting for all your ducks to be in a row before you do something, before you call the agent or get your headshots or go out or start to say that you're an actor or do what you have to do to get work, it ain't ever going to happen. If you constantly stay in stasis of waiting, what are you going to end up doing? You're going to be waiting. So we got to change that. So, I talked to Izzy yesterday because I think it was really interesting because I guess she preempted the homework by doing it the day before. But, so this is your homework. Obviously, we'll do it in the work. But in life this week, I want you to take action in something that is requiring you to be more fearless. And you guys, these are not big things. I'm not asking you to jump off the Grand Canyon. Fearlessness is facing your own discomfort around whether or not you can do it. It's the part of you that used to be fearless until adults came along and contaminated the spirit of that possibility. I'm not blaming adults. It's also just part of life. So you become more risk averse. You don't get anywhere in life by being risk averse. The only victories you've had in life are really, whether you're cognizant of it or not, were having a sort of a modicum of fearlessness. So this week, I want you to do something that's going to require you to acknowledge, I'm going to have to push through feelings in order to get to the other side. So it could be following up with somebody. It could be calling somebody up. It could be asking somebody out on a date. It could be somebody that rejected you a year ago being brave enough to say, following up with that person because so many more things maybe have happened in your life and you have more things to contribute and present. That is fearlessness. Because you know what? The end result is you still may not make the basket. But it doesn't matter. It's all numbers. That's how you win an NCAA basketball match. That's good, yes? Okay, all right. Did I do that? Nice. Okay.